So I did this live Q&A several years ago, and this woman asked me a question that stopped me in my tracks. She asked, "How do I get my spouse to understand my depression?" And it was heavy and it was weighted and it was real and it was vulnerable because sometimes people say something that sticks with you several years later. Like this was years ago on some Instagram live Q&A, and I still remember the question. And I still remember the weight of the question and the vulnerability of the question. And I believe that when we remember something someone says several years later, it's because we need it, right? We need to keep that in mind. We need to remember it, one, and then two, because somebody else in our lives at some point may need it. So that came up for me today because the question or the what I talked about yesterday in yesterday's video around our individual needs and sometimes dealing with anxiety or depression or overwhelm in our relationships and feeling like we have to choose between ourselves and our spouses. I was like, made me think of this. So let's talk about that question, that answer to that question. How do you get your spouse to understand your depression? Or it could be your anxiety, or it could be your overwhelm, or it could be your passions, right? So insert what it is that you need here. So let's talk about it. First off, hey, I'm Imani. I'm a marriage coach. So, yes, I talk a lot about relationships, but I also talk a lot about just life when life is lifing. So, that is, how do we figure ourselves out? How do you figure yourself out? What do you do to navigate through change? And how do you make that happen for yourself? What does that look like in real time? So, let's get into it. You have to take a lot of care with these questions because, like I said, it's really vulnerable. And one of the things that is real is that when you're going through something, I'm going through something, it feels really personal. It's our personal struggle. It's our, personal cross to bear, somebody might say. It's something that we feel like we have to figure out or work through. It can feel lonely, it can feel isolating, but it can feel like it's ours. It's our thing that we need to deal with. And sometimes we forget that whatever it is that we are going through personally does affect our spouse. If you are depressed or anxious or overwhelmed, for example, you're going to engage with the world a certain way. I've definitely dealt with overwhelm. I am quieter. I seem like something is wrong, like my demeanor, my face, and maybe I just need the time and the space. I remove myself some things from places. I'm trying to figure it out and drop in. And my partner is left like, what is going on? Left with the energy of that. If nothing else, is left with the energy of that. And then maybe even left with, okay, so I guess I'm picking up certain pieces that you're putting down because you're in the state that you're in. And that can, that's still my stuff. I'm still going through it. And yet I still have to acknowledge as another person who is going through something parallel to me, but also because of what it is that I'm going through. It's not about blame, it's really like a cause and effect thing. And we can forget that because we're in our stuff. One of the things that can be really helpful around getting your spouse to understand something, because you can't make them understand, you can't really shake them, is to clearly communicate what it is that you need. But before you can do that, because people will tell you that, right? Like, tell them what you need. And you're like, I don't know. That part. That part. Because before you can clearly communicate what it is that you need, you have to be able to understand what it is that you need yourself. You can't communicate something that is not clear to you, right? And so that's first and foremost. There's like thematically here on the channel, we know we talk about dropping into self and starting with our own awareness, and this is no different. Like, look how many aspects of our life in which that makes sense, right? In which that is important. And so yeah, like okay, I remember I had this couple where she was like, when I'm dealing with kind of what feels like paralyzing anxiety, I need the lights off. I need please don't come in and open the blinds and try to like wake me up. I need some darkness to reflect. Um, her partner felt like They couldn't be affectionate and things at that time, and the partner really needed affection. And she was like, you know what, I can handle pressure, so you can kind of just lay on top of me and give me the pressure, or tight hugs, but nothing like soft. And so it was, we got very, I say all of this to say we got very specific in terms of what it was that she felt like she needed in that moment and in those moments. And it gave her partner a sense of kind of clarity and feeling like, okay, I can be helpful, I can be beneficial. Sometimes the spouse doesn't understand because they're lost on how to help or what to do, and they feel like if they do something, they're doing something wrong, they're walking on eggshells. There's a discomfort in how to be there, how to support, how to not make it worse. And so one of the things that we can do is give clarity, first to ourselves and then to our partners. um the other big piece I remember, I've said it on this channel, I have shared, I've had 3 pregnancy losses, and there's definitely something in that feels like this is mine, right? I the physicality of it, the emotional piece of it, but I don't own that because I have a partner, I have a spouse. And so one of the second way that I think is really powerful is to acknowledge that they're going through something. Like I said earlier, it can feel really personal. When we're going through something, it's like, this is our thing and we got to figure it out. Don't worry. Don't you worry about it. And yet it affects them. So that feels like a throwaway answer. And as uncomfortable as it can be sometimes for some people to be like, let me check in on you while I'm going through this thing that sucks, it is a way for you to have each other's back, for you to be there for each other. It can break some ice, it can break down some barriers if you're continuing to try to get your spouse to understand, right? Which we can't physically do in the way that we want to. Like they gonna just get it because we will it so. And you're trying to make that known, but you find yourself up against the wall all the time, just running into the wall, having the same conversation, the same issue on a loop, and it's not going anywhere. What can ultimate, oh, ultimately, what can often ultimately break that cycle and that loop is just being like, okay, let me check in with you. Because yeah, I know I'm going through a lot right now. And I imagine you are also going through a lot. I imagine this was tough for you. I'm sure that it's hard when I retreat for you to know what to do, or you don't know how to help, or you have more on your plate because I'm just not able to do what I would normally do in this setting. You are struggling too in your own way. I see that, and maybe in some ways that I don't see, and I'm here if that's something that you want to share with me. um, I'm open and I'm here for you. Like, and sometimes I acknowledge that can be a lot depending on what it is that you're going through. But when you are able to kind of come at it at that angle, to check in with your spouse too, and please know, right? This is what we all have to know, have a knowing of. Checking in with our spouse does not dismiss or diminish our experiences. It's just an acknowledgement of theirs, both, and it's not a negation of what it is that we're going through. Like, even in something as simple as like your partner sprains an ankle or breaks a leg and is now out of commission, and now things have shifted, and now they're a caregiver, and now you used to do the, you used to pick them up from school, and then your partner, your spouse was, dropping them off, and y'all had a flow and y'all had a rhythm. Now you don't have that rhythm. I'm picking up and dropping off. I'm getting the clothes ready. I'm doing the things that I don't normally do. The well-oiled machine and the routine that we had going, the flow and the rhythm is now interrupted, and I'm a little flustered. Just acknowledging like, oh, I get why you'd be flustered. Like, the tables have turned really quickly and you have to do X, Y, and Z. And I get it. And I'm going to support you, even if it's just like, you know, saying a couple things, or me getting on a call for something. I'm going to see how I can support you in this. I know it's a big shift. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Overall, just acknowledging that there's cause and effect in our relationship, that the things that we think are very personal and all our own, and the personal struggles we feel like we're going through are very real, and they have a very real impact on our spouses as well. And it just acknowledging that goes a very long way. All right. That's my word for tonight. Day, like I think 94 of 100 straight days on YouTube. Crazy bananas. I'm getting so close. I'm really contemplating what the next 100 days are going to look like, y'all. Appreciate you rocking with me. Thank you for hanging out with me and having this conversation, especially if you've gotten this far. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. We can continue the conversation. And yeah, all right. I am here making videos every day, at least for the next, few days, for 100 days, to really encourage and remind us to stay connected to yourself, to your spouse, and to creating a life that feels good to you. That feels good to you. We need that. We deserve that. You deserve that. So if that's your vibe, please subscribe and let's continue on this journey together because I'm in here. We in here. And thank you. Thank you again. Appreciate you. I'm going to see you tomorrow.